Yo, what's up everybody? Happy New Year's to everyone. Everybody out there in comic tube, manga tube, and just YouTube in general, right? So just started off the new year. Hopefully everybody had a good time with the fam, stayed safe, didn't go anywhere too overpopulated or crowded. I was thinking, how can we start the new year, right? So I've been getting some requests for doing showing off the collection so people could get a better idea of what I collect, what series I'm into, and so forth. And I've been procrastinating on that because I had a mess here. The bookshelves were all out of order and whatnot. I've been cleaning them up and thought, you know what? This is the perfect time to do it. The new year just started. Let's go ahead and get it going, right? So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Also, it's gonna help me because I have some goals for 2022 as far as my collecting, some changes I want to do as far as to what series I collect and what formats and all that jazz. So there's gonna be some goals there, and hopefully I meet them by the end of the year. And in 2023 I'll do another shelf tour, and I kind of could compare the two to see how close I got to my goal and how different my collection looks and so forth. So yeah, if you have any comic collecting goals, manga collecting goals, movie collecting, let me know in the comment section down below what your goals are. And also have a healthy conversation amongst yourselves down there about your goals and so forth. Now this is a newer channel. We got 1 month in the game already, so it's been a fun ride so far. Been digging it. We got 28 subscribers, so once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be giving this book away in a raffle. So at 100 subscribers, you won't have much competition. Your chances will be high at winning this. It's Captain Britain. It's the majority of it is in black and white like this. That's kind of some of the artwork you expect to get here. Fun series. So yeah, once we hit 100 subscribers, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, you're checking out this video, and you like our comic books and mangas, right? So yeah, I have to get that out the way, and just like to give a shout out to everybody out there. Thanks for the support, everybody that's been down with the channel since day one. We got 30 days in the game already. And we got close to 30 subscribers, so if we keep going at that rate, in 3 months we'll be at 100. Hopefully we grow a little quicker than that, but if not, at 3 months we'll be at 100, and we'll do the raffle for that book. Then we'll raffle off some other books. I have a bunch of other books here. I'm trying to make space, right? I just said I had shit at my parents' house, so that means that if I'm taking up their space, putting more of my collection, that means I have too much stuff. I need to get rid of some, so there'll be more raffles and trying to get rid of stuff, right? Okay, so before we get started, guys, this is gonna be a long one. It's gonna show the collection, so it's gonna be about an hour. I'm gonna try to keep it an hour or under. Go ahead and order some pizza, grab a beer, grab some popcorn, some Cheetos, whatever it is you gotta do, right? I'm gonna grab myself a cold brew. Actually, I'm already on my second right now, so if you hear me slurring my words and so forth, it's because I'm already done with 2 beers, and these are pretty strong. Nothing better than a cold beer on a cold day, right? Wait a minute, that's all wrong. That's not what's better. Get yourself some hot chocolate, guys. Do yourselves that favor. Don't be like me. I just live dangerously, right? So let's get to what you really came here for, right? You came here for the books. So I do have manga here. It's gonna be on the second shelf. So be patient with me, you manga collectors. That will grow this year because that's one of my goals. So this first one is gonna be other books. Then we'll get to the other shelf and it'll be the mangas. Okay, so the first book is Zelda, the Hyrule History. Awesome book. Do a video on it one day. Probably won't get views because it's already an older release, but that's alright. I want to read it and do a video on it. It's like an autobiography about the history of Zelda. Back when the game came out, how they came up with the characters, how it was so influential in the gaming world, how it really helped the launch of Nintendo. Because man, Nintendo had some heavy hitters when it came out. It was Metroid, Zelda, and Mario all became huge franchises that still exist till today, right? I don't think any other console has had a launch like that. Usually they suck the first year. They don't really get solid games till the second year because they're still figuring out how to, use the software and all that stuff. Last time I saw a game come out on launch day that was a huge success and it's still out right now as a franchise, had to have been Gears of War. When the 360 came out, that game was huge. The graphics were way ahead of all the other games that came out that year, and that game is still, that franchise is still around, right? They got comic books, got novels, all that jazz. I think they even have like statues and so forth. So yeah, that's the last time. Besides that game, I think it's been done again. Besides those 3 that are from Nintendo. So yeah, I played this once I was around 3 or 4 in the late 80s. Yeah, I'm giving away my age here. Yeah, I'm 56, fellas. So yeah, this came out like in the late 80s, early 90s. And when I played that game, that one and Mario were like my first 2 introductions to games. Then came Mega Man and so forth. And so I was a little kid, all these games were new to me, like video game systems were new to me. I wasn't even of like kindergarten age, of school age yet, right? So I was like, wow, like, oh crap, like when I press on the buttons here, it affects how the character moves on the screen. So very nostalgic for me when I read this, because it tells you about the times, how they were back then and how this was revolutionary and so forth. Like, I think the video game before that was like Atari, and it was like not close, right? This was like way ahead of that one. So anyways, yeah, that's an awesome book to have. They have 2 more books of these, and the other ones are more, they're not biographies, they're more just showing you character guides, who the characters are, or showing you artwork. And this is what I want. This is a much thinner book than the other ones, but this is to me, this is where it's at, is that one. Now the next series I got here is Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider Archives Volume 1, 2, 3, there's 4 for the whole collection. That's all the Top Cow stuff. Now this is a little complicated because Tomb Raider is a license owned by a video game company, Eidos, right? We all pretty much know that, right? But it was licensed out to Top Cow for a while, and then once the contract ended, whatever, now it's licensed out to Dark Horse, and they make their books. So Dark Horse wanted to reprint the old stuff in this big format. And I guess Top Cow was like, oh, you may own the character, you could write new stories, but you can't reprint our old stories, we own those. So it got all complicated, and I guess they came to an agreement. We got the books made, but chances of them ever being reprinted or made again is slim to none. And they also have that huge oversized pages of big Michael Turner art. So yeah, those books have a lot going on for them. We'll be keeping them in for the long run, like I said. They got a lot of value, not just because they're worth a lot, but I mean they got a lot of value, as in they won't be reprinted again. You'll never get them in this format again. And it has his awesome art. Also, this last one has some art from a lot of different artists, a lot of cool art. One of the miniseries there is Joe Jusko, because there's a lot of miniseries and the Tomb Raider Journeys. Those Joe Jusko issues, I think it's like 2 issues. Those are really hard to find now, and they go up there in price. So it's cool to have them right there. Let's see. Also, Tomb Raider, she was a strong female protagonist that you didn't see a lot back then. I believe she came out in 97. I didn't really hear about her till like 99 because I wasn't into video games during those years. I was more into the arcade scene. So yeah, she was like a badass, right? Everybody was like, holy shit, like she was so cool, right? Before that, you had like Princess Zelda, Princess Peaches from Mario. Like the girls were the characters you just saved at the end of the game, but you played as the guy the majority of the time, right? So it was cool to see. It was something different. She also, the introduction of Lara Croft and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they introduced like they got this whole wave started of where the females were the superheroes and the main lead in movies and comics. You got your Fathom after that. You got your Underworld. You got a lot of women characters during that era I would like to say that Buffy and Lara Croft were the 2 that sparked that off. I have cousins, a lot of girl cousins. They grew up with Buffy. They still love her till this day, right? They still read old comics and stuff. So they grew up, they were like, of that age, 10, 12, when those shows were coming out. Xena, the Warrior Princess. So WB made his bones with those 2 shows, Xena and Buffy. So yeah, they sparked up that whole revolution of the girl superhero. Oh, you know what? I got this. Speaking of Fathom, I got this cool bookmarker of Fathom. Somebody hooked it up with this when they sent me some books that I bought, and then they had this in one of the books. Or maybe they just forgot it in the book, right? Who knows? Because I have forgotten some cool bookmarkers in books before too. So maybe it was an accident. Also, Chad Fierster hooked it up with these. Some bookmarks from for the Geminites, Gemin and the Geminites. I also put a link to the Facebook group on the description down below. Awesome group, check it out. We talk anything hobby related, statues, comics, collecting cards and whatnot. And you even get your occasional post of sports, right? Like, hey, did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Did you see this play? Or the NBA Finals, the latest UFC, whatever, right? It keeps it live because those sports posts usually get a lot of comments, and it's usually healthy. Sometimes you clown the guy that lost or the team, but it's all healthy and good fun. You're not personally attacking the persons or anything, right? You're just having a little fun with it. And same with the comic stuff, like, right? Yeah, if you like Marvel, I like DC, whatever, you can attack the character like, that one's whack, or whatever, right? But it doesn't have to be personal. You have to personally attack the person because they don't like the same thing. So yeah, I'm gonna put that back there. Next book is Sky Doll. Look at that. That looks like a James Bond. It's like a James Bond silhouette right there. And then in the inside, instead of being all dark, it has like other artwork, right? The artwork is very trippy. Look at the gun, very 007-ish. Now this is the complete Sky Doll, the ultimate collection Sky Doll. This is kind of misleading because, let me put this back in here. That's kind of misleading right there because that does not have, it was only volume 1 and 4, the beginning and the end. It doesn't have volume 2 and 3. So I have volume 2 and 3, they'll be in the collection down here as we go along with the books, right? Those will be in there. But that sucks. I really wish they would have had all 4. I bought this because I was watching Omar from Near Mint Conditions channel. I pick up a lot of books when I see them on his channel, like not your superhero stuff, your Marvel, DC, that stuff. We all know about that stuff for the most part, and I know what it is I'm gonna pick up and not pick up when it comes to that. But when it comes to stuff outside of the norm, there's where I kind of see what it is I'm interested in and not interested in. And I picked a lot of stuff up based on that channel. Good channel, check it out on the description down below. The next book is the Nicopole Trilogy. This one came out on my feed after I bought that Sky Doll one, and it looked interesting enough, so I decided to pick it up. Sounds kind of Russian to me. Even the name of the writer there sounds kind of Russian. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that because I'll totally butcher it. Now let's get to the next. Oh, these books, one thing I'll tell you, I flipped through the pages of them. I have not read them yet. Because I did like the art on both, so I flipped through the pages, and man, some insane shit is going down. A lot of crazy stuff that I do want to read them to know why it's happening and what it is that's happening. Now the next one is the artist Sean Phillips. This was also like a biography about his life and so forth. If you want a more in-depth review and so forth, and the link up here in the top right hand corner, click on it. I made a video of that, an overview talking about it. Next book is the Joel Jones Lady Killers. Awesome book, awesome artwork. Look at this cover. I like the main cover, but this cover is good too. But the cover that they had on that trade paperback and on issue 1, that one was awesome. I like this too, the use of colors they use and all that. Joel Jones is a phenomenal artist in my opinion. One thing, I was reading her Catwoman, volume 1, and I noticed the artwork is the same, obviously, right? It's the same artist, but she writes both of them, the Catwoman one and this one. And the stories are like almost the same stuff as this. It's like a crime noir type stuff, and so is the other one. So I wouldn't say it's crime noir, but it's crime. Street crime and so forth, street level stuff with Catwoman. But like if you switch this character out and put Catwoman in there, or if in the Catwoman when you switched her out and put this character, you wouldn't know the difference. They're the same. And they said in the 50s, right? So the way they're dressed and stuff fits that era. It's very like a lot of clothes Chanel makes and stuff. And then when you read the Catwoman when it's set in modern times, and they're still dressed that way. So that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, is she a one-trick pony? Because the stories are similar, and then the way she dressed everybody, like if they're still from that era, even though that one's the modern times. So now I'm kind of interested in reading something of hers that's sci-fi or superhero-y, just to see how if she's capable of writing something different, right? But I do love her art regardless. One thing I know is she loves fashion. She loves fashion. I think she wanted to be a fashion designer, and you could tell the way she draws the clothes and so forth, because fashion designers are really good artists too. The way she draws the clothes, they really remind me of Chanel stuff. When you watch the runways, you watch the new Chanel clothes, very reminiscent. The next book is the Absolute Wildcats, Jim Lee. Sadly, I was one of those kids that never read that stuff. I read maybe 2 or 3 issues, so I don't know much about the Wildcats, what they're about. I skipped Wildcats, Cyberforce, all that stuff. I was the guy reading Spawn, Savage Dragon, and the Max. Those are the ones I was following. Next one is Absolute Scarlet. Now this is volume 1, but don't let that fool you. I don't believe there's a volume 2. It's just one volume. It's the whole collection. The next one is Michael Turner Creations. This has Fathom issues 1 through 12. And then it has issues 13 and 14 are not the OG issues, because the OG issues included, it was a crossover with Witchblade and Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. And since, obviously for legal reasons and so forth, they don't own those licenses, they couldn't include those last 2 issues. So issues 13 and 14 are like remakes, like the same story but without those characters. So those stories, you will only get them here, you won't get them in single issues. It's kind of an interesting story behind that part. And then you get the 12 issues of Soulfire, which is also drawn by Michael Turner. I'm not familiar with that series, I gotta read it and check it out. I hate this spine, not the spine, but the dust jacket doesn't say the name. It says it in the book when you remove the dust jacket, but it sucks it doesn't say it on the dust jacket, because when you look through the books, you will not know what's in there, right? You will not know what book it is. Next book is Low by Rick Remender. Love Rick Remender's writing. Look at that cover. Shit is insane. All kinds of mayhem going down. This is a very depressing story. Yeah, so basically what's happening there is that the world is running out of air because it's been polluted for so many years. It's an interesting premise, because that's what will happen, not in our lifetime, but in the future, over thousands of years, that will happen if we don't think proactively how to for the environment and stuff like that, how to stop pollution and so forth, right? So here it's way in the future, running out of air, people's days are numbered. And you see some people are proactive, trying to find solutions, trying to find a way, right? Trying to be helpful. And then some people just bitch and complain, and they're breaking stuff and out there shooting people. That's not gonna help, right? But in their mind, they just don't know what to do. They're just not as intelligent as the scientists and as these other people, right? So they don't know what to do, so they're just frustrated and they're just mad, right? And miserable. And so it's an interesting concept they got going on there, how everybody reacts, right? When shit hits the fan, everybody reacts differently. Some react to just whining and making the next person's life miserable because they feel it's hopeless, and some are more optimistic, like we can do this if we unite and figure out a solution, right? So yeah, that's like I said, that's a very good story, very depressing at the same time. Shout out to JP and again Chad Fister, they hooked it up with this book over at the Gemini's group. JP has a YouTube channel. He's also like an online retailer. Check out his channel, it's Organic Price Books. Put the link in the description down below. Check it out. He'll also show you like books before they're out, right? Because since he's a retailer, he sells them, he gets them before the public does, right? So he'll let you be aware of what books are out, see if it's something you're interested in. He'll describe it to you a little bit. So it's a good way to get an idea of what books are out and how they look and so forth. So go ahead and check out his channel. He also gives you info about his website as far as prices, links to the website and all that stuff. So yeah, let's get to the next book. This one was kind of a bust. Dragon Age, I wasn't digging it that much. This one, Black Road, it's by Brian Wood, so I know it'll be good. And it's a continuation of look at that art, it's pretty sick. It's a continuation of Northlanders, which is cool, but Northlanders is by DC, this is by Image. Northlanders are in trade paperbacks, this is in hardcover. The DC stuff, I don't even know if they're allowed to reprint it anymore, or what situation they had with Brian Woods. So I don't know if they're allowed to reprint that, or if they even want to, because I hear they're not like on good terms. So it's gonna be a hassle just to get the other books and so forth, so I'm just gonna read that digitally, and that's why I'm getting rid of this one and the Civil War. There'll be in future raffles and so forth, like I said. As the channel grows, we'll do more raffles and so forth. So hit that like button, help the algorithm, help us grow. Hit that subscribe button, recommend the channel, hit the share button. So yeah, we got these are all Full Metal Alchemist. So yeah, are you manga lovers, don't touch that dial. We got manga coming up, don't worry, we're getting there. Or just skip ahead to when we get to that shelf, right? You can just skip ahead till we get to the manga stuff if you want. These are the hardcover editions by Viz Media. Might give some of these away in the future too, because I have doubles of a few of them, of like 2 of them I think. So anyways, I have the Viz Media, the same format and so forth of the Fist of the North Star, and they have some differences that I want to do a video on, so I'll talk about that later. I kind of like this style more, but it depends on the person. Some might like the other ones better, and I'll talk about those later in a future video, so stay tuned for that as well. Now we can get to this one, Low Volume 1. I got Volume 2 coming in. I already sold my paperbacks. So I got the volume 2 coming in. No need to double dip. I have a lot of double dipping here, but I don't do it much because the stuff I have is I still haven't decided what format I want to get rid of yet, right? So yeah, let's get to the second shelf. Should I lower the camera? Can you guys see from there? I think you guys can see pretty good from there, right? Get to the second shelf. We got Razzle. Can you even take this out? Can we even take this out? Does it fit? Yeah, we got it. We got it. Razzle. It's about this thief here. Look at that statue. He stole a lot of expensive art and so forth. Cool book. It's like wider. This is made by that guy that made Bone. It's a library copy. That's the only thing I had there. Other than that, there's no damage on it. Check out some of the artwork. I love the build of the book. And it's stock paper, so you don't get that glossiness, and it's light, it's not heavy, because these are light. The other ones are heavier, the glossy paper ones. Once you fill up a whole roll of that other paper, it adds up, where these shells will start bending like that and all that craziness. So I always like these lighter ones. Also, where I read, I have a light there, so I won't get the glare. And when you're picking them up, walking around with them, it's just lighter with these, when you're carrying it with you somewhere and so forth. And I think the art and colors looks better in this paper. There's just a lot of pluses to this paper. The other ones that are like glossy, cheap magazine paper, I get it. You can make thinner books with that paper because that magazine paper is meant to be thin. You know, if you ever bought magazines, you know how that paper looks, right? This one's, they both have their pros and cons, because this one can yellow over time. Another page right there. This one can yellow over time, and the other one, and as far as that goes, it will last you longer. So it kind of just depends what you like, I guess. Second book here is Savage Dragon by Image. So this is my Image roll right here. I had on custom bound myself on my single issues. Did that cover. Thought it looked pretty cool. The spine, I was happy with the way I designed that spine myself and so forth. Happy with the way it turned out. Didn't even put anything in the back though. Fucked up right there. Should have put at least what issues are in it, right? So yeah, oh well. Here's the second one. I decided to end it at this one. The picture I chose, shit looks sucky. It's too I like the picture itself, but the picture I chose is very low resolution. Like you could see the pixels and so forth. So I wasn't a fan of that. And I regret picking this picture of this girl too, because the mohawk. This at a place is too big with that mohawk. Nothing on the back again. I decided to end it at issue 50 because 50 million years, spoiler guys. The issue 50, he dies. Savage Dragon dies. Believe he comes back to life and so forth. But I decided just gonna stop it there where he dies, because then I'd be having like 7 hardcovers, right? Next one is Gen 13. There's the spine. Kept the Image thing. I'm keeping all of them with the same logo like that. There's a spine. I was happy with this one as well. I just wish I did this bigger. But yeah, pretty cool. This one does have a back cover, and I did write all the content and so forth on the top. There's that character. Man, look at her. Looking super hot in her bikini. Look at this. When I saw this, I was like floored. I was blown away when I seen this cover. I was like, holy shit, who drew that shit? Who drew that? It looks amazing. Obviously, the girl looks hot. But it's not just the girl. Like, the artwork itself is really good. It's really solid art. So yeah, I got this one. I skipped the issues that have the Wild, was it Rising Stars or Wild Stars or something like that, that series. I skipped it because I'll probably get the trade paperback later. And then the issues that include the Fire from Heaven, I also skipped those issues, and I made a separate book for that series, because that one ran pretty long, like 25 issues or so. So I just made a book out of it. I like this, but I regret putting these letters here because they look off too. They don't look that great. Should have put different font. Again, these were the first time I tried to design my own stuff. So it's a learning process. The more you do it, the more you'll get better at it and so forth. Alright, lower the camera a little bit. Hopefully it looks better for you guys. Now we're gonna get to my Image stuff that's not custom bound, right? Here we got Outcast. This is a full series in one book by Kirkman. And here we got Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan. Also the whole series in one book. I like it when it's like this, just one book, the whole series, because that way you don't gotta commit to buying 3 or 4 or 10 books or whatever, right? Get to some of the artwork on this one. It's real heavy compared to these other ones that I had custom bound. Right away you notice the difference in how heavy it is. Those were made from the original issue, so they're lighter, the paper's lighter. This is almost like magazine paper, and as we all know, magazines are pretty heavy. Some of the artwork. Love the artwork here by Paulo Cesera. He's a master storyteller in my opinion, as far as the way he tells a story with just the art. You don't even need the words to kind of see what's going on, and he really brings emotion and so forth on the panels. You really get to know these characters. They feel like real people that you're following, right? Now this is they have hardcovers. This is the cheapest way to buy it. You can see the paper, it's magazine paper. You see how it ripples up and so forth. This isn't meant to look fancy or anything. This is just meant to get the whole story at a cheap, affordable price. So these are a good way to go, these compendiums. Don't know how they'll hold over the long run because it is a thicker book. So the gluing and so forth, I don't know how that'll hold. When it comes to thicker books, I prefer if they were hardcover. Of course, it would be more expensive, which I don't mind. I'll probably just pay to have it turned into hardcover anyways. This one's a little thinner, more manageable, not as heavy, the Paper Girls. Now I got my Image hardcovers of Spawn. Like I said, these Paper Girls, these outcasts, they have hardcovers like these as well. I just chose to go with these because I'm going to turn them into hardcovers myself. And they're cheaper. This is super insane to find now. It's really hard to find the Spawn Volume 1 and Volume 3 of the hardcovers. You will get these for the art, obviously. Killer art on Spawn. Let me get you a good page here. Awesome artwork. These have the covers, and like I said, volume 1 and 3 are like super hard to find. So you probably best bet they sell them like this too, these stick compendiums. I would just buy it this way. You get the same awesome art and everything, right? So I got volume 1 and 2. At my parents' house, I have the rest of the volumes. They only went up to volume 10. So I have the rest at my parents' house. I have all my good stuff over there. Like, not my good stuff, my long ongoing series, like my X-Men, Conan, Spawn, all the stuff I'm a fan of. I have them over there. Now this one I didn't even know I had it here. I was looking through my boxes. I had Sam and Twitch Volume 1 by Brian Michael Bendis. Volume 2. So Volume 1 is super hard to find. I'll probably just read this one and just sell it because I don't think I'm gonna dedicate. If I find Volume 1, cool, but I'm not gonna buy it at the price it's going for. That's some of the artwork. Monstrous. I don't know how many series this is gonna go, but this is volume 1, thicker hardcover. You can see here's a lot bigger than these other ones. Then I have Sky Dolls volume 2 and 3. Volume 2 is called Spaceship Collection. That's the cover. And volume 3 is called Decades. So yeah, those are the two that you will have right there. Another one I got based on the Newman channel is this one, Peter Pan. Supposed to be a darker take on Peter Pan. It looked very interesting to me. Look at that. You always know when the European ones, because they're wider. So when you put them on the shelf, they stick out more. Got this one, Doc Savage. This is the Curtis magazine, the archives. You know what? Let me show the cover off too. Look at that. Awesome cover. This in black and white. I wish they would have made the Conan ones this way because these are magazines, so therefore they're wider. It goes from here a little extra wider. The Conan magazine, the Savage Sword of Conan, they made them just a regular thin like that, so therefore the art had to be smaller. So I wish they would have just made that line wide like this one, would have been pretty cool. Now we got the Animosity Omnibus, the Animosity Complete Collection, Phantom by Peter David. This is gonna be 3 volumes, I believe, from DC. Then Phantom by Peter David, another one right here. Planet of the Apes Archives, Hex Omnibus. This one, I don't know why I haven't read it. I was super excited when it came out. I wanted to read it. I haven't got around to it. I thought I was gonna read this one right when I got it, and I don't know what happened. I don't remember what happened that I ended up liking it so much. Now Border Worlds. We got here Court of the Dead. And Transformers Volume 6, I bought Volume 1, 2, and 3, I believe. I didn't like them that much. Bought Volume 6, and I thought it wasn't for me, right? It wasn't my thing. So, probably sell that Volume 6. Let's get to the next row. Alright, let's show off the stuff down here. We got X of Swords by Jonathan. No, that's not Jonathan Hickman. But it's his, the reboot with him on X-Men. Everybody knows how that book looks. This one, Wolverine Essentials Volume 3. I have this in color in the Epic Collections. But these are in black and white. These books are in black and white, and look at the cover price here. It's $15 cover price. So with when they were originally coming out with a discount you get online, they were probably around $10, $9, pretty cheap. And you get about 16 issues, 20 issues, so you get a big chunk of the run. And look at this. Look at that artwork in black and white, that Wolverine. Shit looks sick. Really digging the way a lot of these. Let me find another one. I mean, check out this page right here. Look at that. And look at this one over here. This one I was really impressed with. No way this is gonna look like this. Look at that. No way it's gonna look like that when it's in color. It's not gonna look that good. That page looks real good in black and white. And there's a lot of pages like that where in black and white they look like superior, right? And then there's some pages like this that the background could be a little bit too dark and muddled, but still just the character itself, the face and all that, looks a lot more eerie, a lot more horror vibe in black and white than in color. In color sometimes, especially if the colors are too bright, it can take away from the art itself. It won't look as eerie. Okay, so let me put that one back. Yeah, so if I find these at that cheap price at $7, $8, I'll pick them up because I do like check out the art in black and white. This one I accidentally got 2 copies of, so I'll just probably either sell one or be giving one away. Called Cat Diaries by Junji Ito. It's a huge book. It's super big, like compared to your typical manga. It's the size of your regular Western book. And when I picked it up because it reminded me of that movie, The Cat's Eye, for some reason. It just reminded me of that. Here we got the Stuff of Legends. This one over here is, this one's not a comic book. It's called Crazy is My Superpower. AJ Mendez, if you follow WWE, AJ Lee, aka AJ Mendez, she's a female wrestler. She really changed the game, in my opinion, as far as female wrestling goes in WWF, because they were not taken serious. There was a lot of them were failed models that didn't make it in the modeling industry. So then they tried out for wrestling and stuff because their goal was not necessarily to be a wrestler, but it's to be famous, right? So they got good-looking girls. They didn't know how to wrestle that much. And they had them running around in underwear and having like bikini matches and bra and underwear matches. Kind of gratuitous, right? Fans liked it, and you know that was their job. When AJ came around, you know, they asked her to do that type of stuff, and she said she stood her ground, like she defended herself. She didn't just do what they told her to do. She didn't let herself be exploited, right? So once she started doing that, some of the other girls started speaking up. Wow, if she doesn't have to do that, I'm not doing it either, right? And so forth. So it's a good story about all that. You get all that here. Let's see, show some artwork here too. There's some pages do have art. Here's some of her pictures and her upbringing. Look, that one has an art page, and there's the fam. There's her right there. She's the smallest one in the red right there. She's a huge X-Men fan, huge fan of X-Men. She writes comic books now. She retired from wrestling. She writes comics. When I bought this book, I saw her at the store. She was at the store in Hollywood, and I think she was signing books there. I was gonna try to get an autograph, but the line was way too freaking long. But she seemed cool as hell, man. I also didn't know she's Puerto Rican. She's from the East Coast. She's from New Jersey. She's Puerto Rican. I thought she was white at first, and so when she says that in the book and she talks about her upbringing, this book is really good, guys. It has it has a very strong voice. Like you really feel her voice in this book. Like it sounds like it's just her speaking, right? But if you follow her in wrestling and so forth, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like when stuff she says here, you're like, yeah, that sounds like something she would say. It's not just somebody editing this and writing it for her, right? So great book. She wrote it herself from there. Because I guess she realized like, hey, why do I need a writer to write this for me and edit it? Like if it's my story, I might as well just write it myself and talk about myself like a diary or journal, right? And from there she got into writing comic books because she was so into X-Men. Here's the next book. This one's called Shinobi Ninja Princess Collection Volume 1. I don't think there was ever Volume 2. It's like $12. Great bang for your buck. The back of it. It's about 300 plus pages. Hardcover. The artwork. It's a decent story. I like it, but it's not it's kind of had like a It's not what I expect from your YA book, right? It's supposed to be like a young adult book. Those usually have like a strong moral to the story, like your He-Man cartoons, where at the end of the episode they would tell you, oh, and the moral of this story was don't drink and drive, or listen to your parents, kids, and whatnot, right? And they tell you that at the end, but the episode will tell you that, and at the end, for in case the kids didn't get the moral to it, they'll spell it out. It feels like it has no moral to the story so far. It's just a cool action ninja story, which I was kind of expecting a little more substance to it. And it's crazy when you read those books and you watch those cartoons. The people that write those books, like your Disney movies and all that too, your kid Disney movies, how they're so much better at having morals and explaining things to you than your stuff geared towards adults, right? And I guess it's because the stuff geared towards kids that they have experience doing that already, and the stuff geared towards adults, like they're so bad at that, man. I swear. The next one is the complete collection 90s Cyber Frog. Who book is the Dust Jacket? See, this one does have the title here. This is what I wish that Palamon would have done. Let's get to some of the pages, some of the artwork. Here's some of it right there. This artwork reminds me a lot of the old Ninja Turtles when they did it when they reprinted them in color. How the artwork look. I'm a fan of that art style. It looks cool. This one, got it from Mycon Comics. It's called Soul Finder. It's written by Douglas Earn. Cool guy. I love what he did with the design of this. I haven't actually read it though. I'm just gonna speak on the design of it. Like, this is all embossed. The artwork here, and then the letters are like gold foil, and all this water out here, all the green, it glows in the dark. So that's crazy. And then look at the back there. You got some type of, reminds me of the Meg, right? Like a big shark or some type of creature coming in. Seems like they're in a submarine. He's a preacher, and check it out. You got gold Bible end pages, like the Bible, right? So that's a nice little theme going. And it has a ribbon. My one only problem with it was that he used to do his books in a trade paperback. So this is the first one he did in hardcover, and I think he just like misjudged the how thick they needed to be. The pages too thick. Look how they open up. They're too thick, right? Look. That's what Marvel used to do early on with their first omnibuses. The pages were real thick and they would just shut closed when you open them. So did DC. So yeah, it's just a learning process. As you make more books, you get better at that stuff. I got Cole right here, and then Conan the Barbarian Volume 4, and Savage Sword of Conan Volume 5. I got the rest of these books at my parents' house. The Captain Britain book, Spider-Gwen, Aliens Volume 1. Volume 2 is about to come out in a week or so. Can't wait to get that one. Captain America by Jurgens. This one, it starts right after the Wait Omnibus. I wish I would have freaking bought the Wait Omnibus, but oh well, too late. I should have bought that one and then this one. But I might just read this one and sell it after too, because the Wait stuff I'm buying digitally. This one, Captain America by Rick Remender. I'm about 15 issues in, and so far it's a bust for me, guys. The story itself is not bad, but it's not what I want Captain America to be. What they're doing here, it feels like the fourth world. He's in space and it's like sci-fi, and he's fighting these monsters that look like something out of Apocalypse on Darkseid, right? So when I read Captain America, I expect them to be like street level, fighting in the streets and so forth. And his stories have like some type of substance towards the government. How sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad, and sometimes he questions it and all that, right? And sometimes the people are the ones that are in the wrong. And this book doesn't give me any of that. This one's like very sci-fi, at least so far from where I'm at so far. So I'm about ready to give up on it. I'm in a part where it looks like it's gonna start changing, because now it turns out all that sci-fi crap was all a dream. It was all in his head. They injected him with a drug. So I'm like, okay, so all that didn't happen. So now I guess now we're in the real world. But at the same time, you still read it, right? Like you still read it, so it still happened to you. You still read that story about all sci-fi crap, right? So I was like, that's not what I'm looking for when I read Captain America. And I know Rick Remender does a lot of he's good at the street level stuff, but he does a lot of sci-fi too. Next one is Khazar. I got this one because it reminded me of Tarzan. I mean, just look at him right there. and he's part of like the Savage Land, which that X-Men go there a lot to that place. So I got it for that reason. I was like, you know what? I like Tarzan and I like X-Men, so let's see what's up with that book. Next one is Star Wars: The Old Republic. This is a good one, must buy. If you don't read it, the Omnibus, at least check it out on digitally. It's a good read. What I got down here, my workout stuff, Citro Mallet. It's crazy how this stuff has been going up in price so much. Like, I used to buy this stuff at $9 and like 3 months ago, and all of a sudden when I ran out of my last jar, I bought this one and it was up to like 30. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why did they go up so much? And the protein and all that stuff went up too. Take this stuff, collagen stuff, more collagen. This stuff's the fountain of youth, guys. Fountain of youth right there. Better alanine. All this stuff is to work out, like to make pre-workout drinks and so forth. Now let's get to the manga. Alright, we're getting close to the end of the video, y'all. So let's get through this before it hits an hour. Hopefully with the magic of editing, we'll keep it under an hour, because right now we're at 45 minutes. Here we got Nausicaa, volume 1 and 2. This is the hardcover slipcase set from Viz Media. Love this format. Love it. I wish they made more books in this format. They're huge books, super tall, big pages. And with this book, you really need the book to be big. You can't have it small like these tankobons, because the way the art is, the panels are small and they're real detailed art. So when you have it in a small book like this, it'll be hard to really see the art or the lettering and so forth. So when you have it in these big books, it looks a lot better. We have this one, the Sunwell Trilogy, Warcraft. It's called the Ultimate Edition. This one's even bigger than the Nausicaa one, and this one's real light. This one is pretty heavy. This one's real light because it's made from the same paper that these small tankobons are made with, and this one's made with like glossy paper, I believe. So the weight difference is real noticeable. I love this book. This from Tokyo Pop. I really wish they made more books like this format. Super light and real big pages. I haven't even opened it. I gotta open it up and read it. Not a fan of I don't play the Warcraft video games, but I always love the sword and sorcery and the whole fantasy stuff. Here I got Mega Man volumes 1 and 2 of the Master Mix. These are, as you can see, they're bigger than these. They're big books. They're in color, but they're like the size of your Western books, but they still open like a manga. Right, so that's one of them. These are in color. I wish they would have made 3. That would have been cool. Have 3 volumes, but they only made 2. This is by Udon Studios. This other one is the 3 volumes of the 3 volumes of the Giga Mix, and then there's the 3 volumes of the Mega Mix. I think these Giga Mix are getting harder to find, so I'd hop on those if you have any interest in them. The covers here shows it in Japanese letters, here in English. Go through some of the artwork right here to get a big idea of how it looks. And I recently ordered this one, also by Udon. It's Captain Commando, so I guess they're working with Capcom. Udon Studios, because both of these series are by Capcom. These characters can be seen in the video game Capcom versus Marvel. So you can have your Marvel characters versus your Mega Man, your Captain Commando, your Street Fighter, or your Japanese stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. Now we got this ones, Fist of the North Star. They're slightly bigger than these. Just barely. They're hardcovers and barely bigger. They're really the same size. It just looks bigger because of the hardcover. Had some issues with this myself. The story itself, I'm enjoying it so far. But there's some stuff here. Like, let me find a page. Okay, for example, I got this page right here. Now, when you see it from over here, it doesn't look that great. But I'll zoom it in for you guys. Then you'll get a really good look at it. It's very detailed, a lot going on, a lot of characters here in this panel, and the artwork itself is really good. It's real detailed and so forth, like I said. But in this book, it's so small, you don't get to see a lot of stuff going on. It almost looks muddled because the pictures are so small. So I wish this book was bigger. Okay, there, I had to pause it real quick so I could organize the shelf. So my point was that I really do like the art. It's real detailed, real good, but I think this particular artist, it would do better in a bigger book. On these small books, they work with the majority of the artists. But stuff like this or Berserker really needs like big books because the art is so much more detailed, right? So the next one we got here is Dark Horse. This also has really good art. It's by Titan Comics. It's based on the video game. I mean, look at the art on this. Look at that. Let's flip through one more page. Look at the art. So yeah, this has real solid art. Thick book. It's almost 400 pages. It's like 350 or so. So it's like $30. Again, you can find it online probably for around 20. Good deal for the amount of content you get, and it's a little bigger than these. As you can see, it's a little bigger than your tankobons. So yeah, then I got these Osagyo Jimbo. If you collect manga and you don't collect Osagyo Jimbo, you really need to get on that. Dark Horse made these hardcovers, and because of the success of these, they started doing this with a lot of their manga now, with Hellsing, Berserk, with all those books. These were the first though, and these sold really well. Now these were pretty expensive though. The Berserk stuff's like 50. These were like 79, I believe. So they were a little more. But yeah, it's a great series about a Ronin rabbit. It's an anthropomorphic world. Everybody's like an animal, right? Like rabbits, wolves, and whatnot, right? Now, I would say that these are a little bit harder to find nowadays, the hardcovers. But I would say getting the trade paperbacks is still totally worth it. The trade paperbacks are about $30, but online you can find them for maybe around $17, $18. And it's the exact same material, exact same size book and everything, right? Black and white. It's very much like a manga. There's 9 volumes for the collection, and then there's this one, Legends. So I have volume 1, volume 9, and the Legends here. Back at my parents' house, I have the rest of the books. Like I said, the majority of these are kind of hard to find out. They're real expensive. But the volume 4 and 5, I think, are still readily, easily available. But you can still buy them in the paperback format. You're not really losing much. This is just for the collector aspect. The other ones even look cooler on the shelf, in my opinion, the paperbacks, because they're real colorful and nice. These is just a bunch of the same, just a bunch of black spines like that. Next one we got here is Metal Gear Solid. But yeah, guys, get on these if you collect manga. Check these out. Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. These are based on the video games. Got some kind of cool, trippy art by Ashley Wood. This is the art you would expect inside. Fan of the video games, pretty cool. That video game is kind of what got me back into video games, was Metal Gear Solid. Back in high school, starting high school when this came out, and I kind of started getting back into the video games. What was that, like 99, 98? And I was like, oh shit, like this game looks badass, and it got me to get back into consoles, because at that time I played arcades, but I was not really into consoles anymore. I had years like that I wasn't into consoles. This one, Batman by Kiya Asamiya. This is a real good book, cool manga, and you can see it's huge. Look at it compared to the other mangas. Huge book, definitely worth checking it out. You get a story of Batman in Japan, where he goes to Japan for some shit that's going down over there. And in Japan, they don't have superheroes, so they're like, oh wow, this is like the American hero, and it's pretty cool stuff. Criminal Macabre. This is a big chunky book, but you see all those pages here? All this is like some type of novel or something. Then the comic don't start from here this way. This whole first half is stuff like this. Once you get into the actual story, this is the art you get in there. Ashley Wood again, the same artist on the Metal Gear Solid stuff, just different colors. So yeah, it's like a crime noir mixed with horror. Haven't read it yet. This one, I know it was a famous novel. I think like I don't know if it was a light novel called the Circle series. So they made it into a comic book format. Pretty thick book, but small. It is the size of your mangas. So yeah, I picked this up. I think it's pretty hard to find now. Mine's a library copy, as you can see right here. Oh no, this is from Thrift Books, but still is a used copy. So we'll see what happens with this one once I read it. Next one is this one, the Templar. This one I heard they had help from the people that wrote us, that worked on the Game of Thrones TV show. That's why I picked it up, because I'm a big fan of the show. Thought it was really good. Season 5 sucked, but other than that, the show was good. So I gotta check that one out. You can find that one on eBay, Amazon, like $8. Check it out, man. Pretty cheap. Next one is Queen and Country Volume 1. You could find these real cheap as well. These are the definitive edition. You could find these on Amazon and stuff for like $6. There's some of the artwork on those. Again, it doesn't have a manga vibe as far as how you read it, but it has that feel as far as like, look at the detail on that art. As far as like, they're black and white, they're small size like these. They're a little bigger than this manga look, but it's black and white. It's a cheap, affordable price, and it's a good read. It's solid stuff. I haven't finished the volume 1, but there's 4 of them for the collection. The last one is Ninja Turtles Adventures Volume 2. I just put it in with these because it's the same size. It's a small book, so I thought I just put all the small books together. Let's get to the next row, which would be the last one. All right, we're getting close to the end. Last row right here. I have some more manga coming in, and I have some box sets that I don't have on shelves. So I might go ahead and do those on my second video when I record at the stuff I have at my parents' house, and I'll add those box sets as well because one of them is over there. Okay, so let's get next to this stuff. We got DMC by Brian Wood. Now this is it's a 5-volume set. I got the 5 hardcovers here. I recently bought this. If you've seen it in my last haul, put a link in the description up on the corner. Now I like the spine on this too. I really like this design on this, and I like the design of these books. These are compendiums. For these I would just need 2. So 2 of these compared to 5 of these. Look how much space it takes, right? So I decided I'm just gonna get the 2 of these, get rid of these hardcovers. Space. The next one is also by Brian Wood. This is the Massive Volume 1 and 2 by Dark Horse. These are really well made. Dark Horse always does really good trade paperbacks. Their quality of their trade paperbacks is better than any other company's trade paperbacks, in my opinion, because they also have some binding. Like they treat them like they were hardcovers, even though they're soft covers. So this is a post-apocalyptic world, and I haven't read it yet, but I know I read like the first few issues, and I know it was like in it's all water. It's all water. There's not that much land left anymore, so that creates all kinds of problems, right? And it's also kind of like a touch on environmentalists and whatnot. This one, DMC, is about that's the demilitarized zone where I guess they have less military, or I don't know. Haven't read it yet. Any of them I haven't even opened them. They're all still sealed, so I gotta get on that one. This one, Zero Channel, again a future apocalyptic type thing, again by Brian Wood. Now also by Dark Horse. The next one we got here is Why the Last Man. I have all the hardcovers. They're just like these. It's 5 hardcovers and they're the same style as these. So I have the hardcovers back at my parents, and I think I'm gonna sell the hardcovers, and this one would be just 2 of these for the whole collection. So I'm just gonna buy the 2 compendiums and get rid of the hardcovers, again for space reasons. Here I got the Wildcats, the 4 volumes, which would be 25 issues of the second series, volume 2. Then volume 3 is called Wildcats version 3.0, which would be the 3rd series, and it's also 25 issues. So this one's 25 issues, and this is 4 trade paperbacks of 7 issues each, I believe, and the last one is 8 issues. And this one is 2 trade paperbacks of 12 issues each. So yeah, that's the 2 series, and the first series went about 80 issues or so. The second series and 3rd series just went 25 and 25. So easier way for me to collect the whole 2nd and 3rd series. The first series I might go ahead and read digitally. I just have that big Absolute I showed earlier. So the rest I guess I'll read digitally because those trades are a little more expensive and harder to find. Got He-Man, Masters of the Universe. This one's by DC. It's just 1 book, the whole collection. So this you could say is my DC shelf. Got He-Man. Then I got Swamp Thing, the new 52. I read some of this. He-Man was pretty cool. The Swamp Thing I have not read it yet, so I have to get on that one. The next one is Jonah Hex. I believe it's its early stuff from the 70s, so it's gonna be a lot of little short stories. I wish they made that Jimmy Palmiotti run. That'd be pretty cool. So this one is it's gonna be more old school material. I haven't read it yet. Haven't even opened it. This Justice League, the Nail. This one I do like Alan Davis art and so forth, but I think this one's gonna be a sell. I'm gonna sell that one because I need to, trim the fat, like I said. This one, Lock and Key Compendium. It's basically an omnibus, hardcover omnibus. I'm gonna read it and see how I feel about it. I haven't read it yet, so we'll see. And this one's not DC. This is IDW. So from here forward, it's not DC. This is IDW. Then these 3 are Valiant. Is Ninjak Volume 1, Volume 2, and basically Volume 3. But Volume 3 is called Ninja K, not Ninjak. So there's a lot of ninjaks. It's like a corporation or something, right? So they're like spies, kind of, and it turns out it's not just him. There's more of them. So got these 3 books. I know these Valiant hardcovers are just skyrocketing in price because they don't reprint their books. Once they're gone, they're gone. So I don't know. Maybe one day I'll sell them since they're kind of up there in price right now, and maybe just read them digitally. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. And then we got the Ninja Omnibus. This is from the 90s stuff, the original series. And these are just like the retelling of the original series, but they switch it up because a new writer, they throw in their own ideas. In my opinion, these are much better. The new reboot from 2012. Now I know they're making the classics and omnibuses like this, so I don't know why they don't make this new stuff from the 2012 stuff in omnibus. Like for example, these 2 hardcovers could be just one of these, right? I mean, I guess they don't like money because these will sell for sure. I wish we could all on Twitter I'll message them saying we want omnibuses, Maybe if enough fan request is there, they can make it happen, like the Snyder Cut. So, let's work on that, guys. Message them, say you want hardcover omnibuses. You're a guaranteed buyer. Alright, let's get to the last stuff here. Bunch of my bags. These are the bags I use for to put the books in. Got my magazine size, my golden age size, like different sizes for different types of books, right? For your mangas, you just get these current size bags. Well, at least those are the ones I use. They're still a little big, but they work. This one's a great book. I highly recommend this book. It's by Peter Milligan. It's called The Bronx Kill. Awesome read. It's small like these 2. It's a bit expensive. It's like $20, but you can find it online for like $8. Like get a used copy. Some of the artwork you'll find inside. It's a crime noir. Keeps you guessing all the way through. It doesn't reveal any info, so you know as much as the detective knows, right? You don't know much, and yes, he's finding out clues, you're finding them out. And so it kind of, I like this, it lets you play the guessing game. Like while you're reading it, you could kind of get, oh, it's gonna be this person, or oh, this happened. Because it hints at stuff, but it never explains anything, and then sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. But that's cool, that's a good murder mystery, it's well done. I got some stamps right here. Batman stamps. I guess I used one, so now this whole thing is not worth anything, right? Oh, my certificate from this book right here, Private Eye by Brian K. Vaughan. Have not opened that up, still sealed. And this one's another biography book, or as they call them, art books, by what company is this? Dynamite. This one's done by Dynamite. Street Fighter 2, the history of Street Fighter. Awesome book. This one is, if you like Street Fighter, highly recommend it. Tells you all the history of the game, the popularity it sparked, how after that one they made 50 million other fighting games. And you gotta remember, back then, before Street Fighter, fighting games didn't exist, so it created a new genre of games, right? And then not only that, and like Street Fighter 1, you could only be Ryu, right? And then you could pick Ken, which they had the same exact moves and everything. But you couldn't pick the guys you fight against. On Street Fighter 2, the guys you fight against, you can also pick those if you choose. So it created a whole new thing for the video game industry, because now you have to set a whole new set of moves and names and controls for every character. Has to have its own thing, right? So that was crazy. It was like unheard of back then. Like you did one set of moves, one everything for like whatever character, Contra or whatever game, and all of a sudden now you have to do all kinds of crap for each individual character. Has to have its own thing, right? So that was very revolutionary at the time. I have a few trades over here. It's the Jim Lee's Heroes Reborn, and it's the Guardians of the Galaxy Road to Annihilation Volume 1 Omni. I have a bunch of boxes here with still more books, but video's already running kind of long, so I'm not even gonna get into all that other stuff. I have a bunch of Grim Fairy Tales, a bunch of other 90s Omnis and stuff that I might show on a future video. So yeah, guys, hopefully you stuck through the whole video. Hopefully you hit that like button. You like what you saw here. Maybe you saw some books you weren't aware of, so I'll introduce you to something new. And hopefully if you're not subscribed, you hit the subscribe button and stay tuned along for the ride, along for our comic book collecting journey. Other than that, I'd just like to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to check out the whole hour video. And And I'll check you guys out next time.